Also, I'm repeating, but please keep yourself on mute. With these many participants, if you're not careful of it and if you're not self-monitoring, this can really create a problem in the meeting. I would strictly recommend that you stay on mute while you're not conversing with the trainer or anybody else, any of your peers in the meet. Please make sure you're doing that actively. Besides that, so there's a couple of things that we will be covering in this session. A lot has already been detailed in the agenda that was given with the message, like the Zoom link and everything. We'll be covering the format that you're supposed to practice in this particular for this particular tournament. What mute yourself is. What this looks like, as in how are you going to practice this format essentially? How does 3v3 work? All of it we will cover, but be patient, okay? I see a lot of excited people around here and parents. Whenever you have a question, I don't want you to stifle it. You can definitely put it in the chat, but please do not unmute yourself at the slightest inconvenience you feel with reference to what I'm saying. So every time you have a question, it's legit and it needs to be answered. I understand that. Please put it in the chat so that we can, like, finally, after we're done with everything, come back to questions and respond to them with sufficient
about the
attention.
rules that they're going to say.
All right. With that, I'll be beginning. Again, quick caveat, no questions to be asked. Unmuting yourself without a show of hands is not allowed because it's a big room. We need to manage it accordingly. Please be respectful of each other and the times that we have, like we have only an hour and there's so much to cover. We don't want to be derailed by these small technical flaws. So please be mindful. All right. To begin with, then, Frankenstein tournament scheduled to happen start from 7th of May with the qualifiers. 4th, 5th, and 6th of May should be your days of training, which is what it says here on the poster. The timings remain the same. The Zoom link remains the same. You just have to join 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. All the training will be done therein, like in this time. So any doubts about training should be cleared by this itself. And yeah, 7th May is your qualifiers. Moving on. As far as the training schedule is concerned in detail, this is what it looks like. Please go through this table of contents and familiarize yourself with what is to come. So in the first session, I'm showing you this table also so that you know that speaker roles will be discussed tomorrow at length, or that the rebuttals will be discussed on 6th. So I should not ask questions about those things on the session which we have today, because that is already going to be covered on some separate day. There is a day assigned for that. I should ask those questions. Sarah, mute yourself. I should ask myself, I should ask the trainer those questions only when that thing is being taught. So we need to be patient. If you want to take a screenshot of this, you're welcome to. But just remember, this is the format. So if you have a question with reference to, let's say,
red one or the bad one?
if you have a question with Lavanya, Vijay, mute yourself. If you have a question with reference to, let's say, rebuttals, then you shouldn't be asking it today as such. Although I will touch upon everything as much as I can, you will keep it aside for 6th because that's when we're going to cover it. All right. Yugbir, I'll take you in a second. So this is what your training looks like. Format, stance, speaker roles, arguments, theme, everything will be discussed, right? And all of this will be from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., 4th to 6th May. All right, moving on. The schedule will be shared with you guys shortly. So like we are planning to do this on 7th of May, like you've been informed. The qualifiers will happen on that day, but there is a slight possibility of this also happening on 8th May because the teams, we have like an unprecedented number of people participating at this tournament, which is good for all of us because you'll have a lot of exposure, but we have to manage accordingly. Some of the training might happen. I'm sorry, some of the qualifier rounds might happen on the 8th of May as well. It's not certain as of yet. We will inform you definitively in some time. So 7th, definitely qualifiers are happening. 8th, we'll let you know about it shortly. All right, something in the chat. Let me respond to questions in the chat now. So if you have any questions with reference to whatever has been said so far, please put those questions in the chat. I'll answer before I proceed to the theme explanation. Okay, taking up questions in the chat in no particular order. All right. So what exactly is the topic is Rutur's question. The topic or the motion for the prepared rounds will be released today after today's session, which is after 8:30 p.m. So be on the lookout for that. There will be one motion for 2 rounds. How does that work? One motion, you will speak for the motion in one round and against the motion in the other round. But which round it is that you're going to speak for and against in is going to be decided by the organizing committee. So, for example, if the motion is anything, this house regrets this training session. So you will be speaking for the motion on one day and against on the other day. The motion will remain the same. But when you're going to go for and against is going to be given to you on the spot by the organizing committee, which is us. Ugly, ideal. Okay. I hope that makes sense. Is in the session tomorrow at 7. It says, yeah, it is on at 7 p.m. Just listen to what I'm saying. 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., 4th, 5th, and 6th of May. That's the plan for training. Like, I don't know my team, so when will I get to know, ma'am? This is something logistical questions will come to later. It says 7 p.m. clarified. What exactly is the topic? Again, same question. Are there POIs? There are POIs for every category. So yes, there are POIs. I'll explain what POIs are for whoever is not familiar with the concept later. Ma'am, can you please show us the second and third slide again? Yeah, we will share this entire PDF with you once the session is over. So, and we are also recording this session, so you can go back to it if you're missing out on something as such. Topic of the debate same, isn't the session tomorrow? Okay. Is it okay if we skip some of the training sessions? Well, the training sessions are to prepare you for the tournament. So if you want to skip them, it's your call. There's things that will be taught which are useful for you, like explaining the theme, explaining the monsters. So if you want to miss out on that, it's entirely up to you and your call. If there's an emergency, you will have recordings, but recommend that you attend the sessions as much as you can. Please mute yourself, please, everybody. Like, I don't know my team, so when will I get to know, ma'am? Later. So the motion will be shared not in the meeting, but afterwards on the WhatsApp group after 8:30. Impromptu, yeah. So I will come to the structure and everything in a second. So all of those questions are with reference to that. So as far as the structure of this tournament for the qualifiers is concerned, there are 3 rounds. 2 rounds are prepared rounds. Prepared rounds are rounds where you are already given the motion. Like we will be giving you the motion tonight, and you can prepare on it till the day of the tournament. So you have like roughly more than 2 days to prepare on it, both the sides. But the stance or the side will be given on the spot. So those are your first 2 prepared rounds for which the motion will be released today. I hope that's clear. The third round that you're going to have is impromptu, which means that the motion will not be released days before. It will be released only 1 hour prior to the round. For example, if the debate is about to happen at 7:30, we will give you the motion at 6:30. So from 6:30 to 7:30, you will have time to prepare. 7:30 to 8:30 is when the debate takes place. I hope this is clear. Yugbir, quickly your question.
Ma'am, my question was that we'll get the topic today, the motion 1 hour prior. That means how will we prepare for 3 rounds? Like all the 3 qualifiers will be on one day only. So how will we prepare? Won't it be too
Because
much?
you have a lot of days, right? You have more than 2 days.
No,
So
but we'll get the motion 1 hour prior. So how can we prepare in such less time of 3 topics?
I mean, that's the challenge. That's why only one round is impromptu. The rest of the rounds are easier.
Is Google allowed for researching?
I'm not taking questions which for which you don't wait for my recognition.
For so long.
Just show your hands, please. Or in fact, just put your questions in the chat. No show of hands. Lower them.
So, ma'am, basically, what do we have to do? You'll there
All
will be
the
3 rounds.
all
The
the
topics
questions,
you'll give today, but the motions.
all the questions in the chat, guys. All of the questions in the chat. All you have to do is put your question in the chat. We'll take them. I promise you that. Okay, lower your hands, all of you. Thank you very much. Okay, now I'll just move on and I'll come to your questions towards the end, right? Once I'm done with saying what I have to. So basically, when Abir and Utkarsh, lower your hands, please. So when we
Instead of laminate,
we are definitely running with a theme in here. So this tournament is based on a theme. Frankenstein is like this popular fictional monster, uh, which is man-made. So in this particular tournament, like every year that it happens, we talk about the kind of problems which are man-made, and we try to find solutions to that through the practice of debate. It's the same this year. It's just that the monsters are different. So this time the monsters are of modernity. So basically, and this is something that you should pay close attention to. This will clear a lot of your doubts in terms of what the topic is going to look like and how you're supposed to go about it, what should you research on, stuff like that. So like modernity basically is this phase or this time where there is a shift in society. So there is a pre-industrial time, and there is there is a time where industrialization happens. Now, industrialization is a process. In fact, most of the terms that end with TION are processes. So industrialization is the process of changing the society from an agricultural society where we used to till the land and plow the land and grow harvest on it to feed ourselves and to sell it, to coming to a society where factories are set up, industries are made, railways come about, steam as is invented, and all of those things, coal is invented and stuff like that. Where does industrialization start? In the British society first, in England, right? And then it spreads to the rest of the world. So a very important aspect of modernity is industrialization. Industrialization, by the virtue of that, is also a monster under modernity. I hope that makes sense. So I'm sorry, yeah. So basically, industrialization is a monster under modernity. Industrialization is marked by the coming up of factories, going away of, like, not complete eradication, but going away of agricultural societies, cities becoming bigger. So if before industrialization, London had only like a few people as a city, after industrialization, it just boomed. There were a lot of people in the cities living together because everybody was flocking to cities for work, for a better lifestyle. It was so luring. So think of it like this: railways did not happen exist before this time. So railways were fancy for people, and going to a workplace was a fancy concept for people, which they wanted to try out. So this novelty or this newness of cities just attracted. Abhi, don't scribble on my screen. I can see who's scribbling. So people can actually move to cities and find a better life. So that is what industrialization is also about. Now, industrialization is basically that. It has good side, it has a good side, and it has a bad side. The good side is that industrialization helps us build technology. Through technology, we are able to do a lot of things. For example, during COVID, we were able to ensure that we keep studying, even if we are in the middle of a pandemic. This wouldn't have been possible had it not been for Zoom calls and Google Classrooms, all of which is like a product of technology. That's the good side. The bad side of industrialization, though, is that there is a lot of environmental damage that's caused in the process of building industries and getting them to work, which is why countries keep fighting amongst themselves about who pollutes more, who should pay for this pollution, and those kinds of things. So industrialization is also bad that way. So your duty now is to study this monster. You have to find out what is
बच्चे का
it
इंटरेस्ट और
about
कितना देखा करो कितना
industrial.
करता
Mute yourself. Shrestha, you need to mute yourself. So you need to find out industrialization, what are the good side, what is the good side of it, and what's the downside of it, so that if you have to speak for it, you have points. If you have to speak against it, you have points. That's how you can prepare beforehand, not like this in the chat. Okay, moving to the second monster then, urbanization. It's again a part of modernity. Now, modernity is just basically made up of these monsters, okay? So whatever you get after interconnecting these monsters is actually the modern world. Modern world is where there is technology, where there's cities, where there's huge companies like Zara, H&M, and everything is too convenient, like groceries being delivered at your doorstep by Blinkit, Zepto. That is what modernity is all about. Extra comfort, extra convenience, materialism. That's what encapsulates modernity. So the second aspect of this is urbanization. It is the second monster. We have 5 monsters in this particular uh, tournament. So urbanization is about, again, it borrows from industrialization. Industrialization happens, factories are not set everywhere. They are set in the most convenient places, which are near ports, etc. This means this means that urbanization also happens near factories. When factories are set up, people want to like situate themselves around these places so that it's easier to go to work. And because people then start making money, there are also luxuries and creature comforts that cities are marked by. So like you have fancy, so metropolitan cities, for example, whichever city has more than 4 million people is characterized as a metropolitan city. For example, Pune and Ahmedabad and Delhi, Bangalore, Kolkata, all of these are cities which are metropolitan. So this is what urbanization looks like. Metros and like again, huge companies setting themselves up here, people having great salaries and like prospects of work, but also overpopulated zones, right? Because and classic example, slums being set up because there's not enough housing to accommodate so many people. There's influx of people. Urbanization is all about just hustle, like working and trying to outdo the other person, outcompete them, make the most of for yourself, have a luxurious lifestyle. That's what urbanization is mostly marked by, as opposed to rural settings or like pre-industrial settings where you are not so obsessed with work and money. You have a very fine balance between things. Urbanization is particularly marked by a certain work fatigue. Okay. No, in the chat, guys, in the chat. See, if I listen to even one of you, I am obliged to listen to everybody else as well, which will be more than 4 hours because there's so many people in the chat, like room. So please put in the chat so that we can systematically respond to questions. Thank you. Now, in terms of, okay, wait, let me show you the monsters here. Urbanization is done. Then there's another monster, which is modern loneliness. Now, this might be unfamiliar to some people, but also weirdly familiar because loneliness is a very basic term that all of us understand the meaning of. Can you give me a thumbs up if you understand what loneliness in general means? Just a thumbs up. Don't unmute, don't do anything else. Thumbs up as in you can use the emoji of thumbs up here. Let me see how many people are here and listening. Okay, fair number. All right. So loneliness, for whoever does not understand it in like general English, is just the concept of not having enough people around you to talk to and feeling like you're to yourself and those kinds of things. But when we talk about modern loneliness, it's a different concept. It talks about how today we have all kinds of means of participating in discussions from people who are not even close to us, with people, I'm sorry, who are not even close to us. So, for example, I can talk to somebody in like Brazil, and I can talk to somebody, I can have an American friend if I want on Facebook or Insta. But the problem is that loneliness is only increasing despite the technological facilities because people are becoming more and more competitive with each other. Do you get it? So, like, I can make friends, but I choose not to make friends because industrialization and this hustle culture, this constant urge to outcompete the other person is distancing me from the people in my life, right? So, like, when you're in a class and you are competing for that first position, so somebody gets like a trophy or something, I don't know what you guys get when you top your class. So, you can be friends with people, but that also comes with a slight intention of competition, right? So you can't most genuinely be friends. Do you get it? That is about modern loneliness, as to how we are keeping, like, even social media is tearing us apart rather than bringing us together. Because even on the internet, we're not always sure of who we are meeting, or like if they are good people to have, or if they genuinely want to be our friends, or if they're becoming our friends just because we have an iPhone. So people also start making friends on very superficial basis these days in the modern world because we are driven by materialism. We care about who has how much and who do they know before we make friends of them. So those kinds of things are naturally under the ambit of modern loneliness. The fourth monster is wars. Okay, now wars is obvious. So modernism also happened after Second World War. Do you guys know anything? I mean, give me a thumbs up if you have heard of Second World War. Most of us, right? So World War, basically a lot of countries are involved. You don't even have to know about who lost, who won. That's not the point. The point is that after Second World War happened, people realized that we should not glorify warfare, and we should not glorify too much the idea of patriotism and like collectives. Like, so Second World War happened, and there was a lot of destruction, and a lot of people died naturally because that's what happens in wars. So the societies who witnessed war closely realized that it is bad to glorify war. So in the past, if you look at like any of, I don't know if you've read any of the, I mean, I'm sure you're too young to have read any of the war texts or legends, but I bet you've heard of like at least Ramayana and stuff, right? Like not Ramayana, Mahabharata even. So that's like a huge war even, if for people who have heard about it. But also the war of Troy. I don't know if you heard about it, but there's definitely stories where there's a lot of mention of war and glorification. That this person fought for their country, this person fought for their family, this person fought for their collective. Now, this is not glorified anymore in the modern world because people understand that war in a war, there is no winner, there is no winner as such, there's no victor because everybody loses. So the idea of war is now like looked down on in the modern world, but at the same time wars are also happening in the modern society. Look at Russia, Ukraine fighting each other, and Russia threatening nuclear destruction. So the war as a theme is very simple. You will get motions on war. How can we stop it? How can countries cooperate? Should countries cooperate? Should they be self-reliant? Should they come together to discuss problems, or should they solve their problems by themselves? Those kinds of questions in the form of motions, nothing complex. Capitalism, I'm not going to discuss as the monster, although it's an important monster because it is for the out rounds. Out rounds meaning these will not be a part of the qualifiers. This will be a part of the quarterfinals, semifinals, finals. So once when you qualify qualifiers, and when you're coming to, who's scribbling on my screen? I need to remove this arrow. Give me 1 second.
Excuse me, just show the slide before this for 1 second.
Okay.
In our prep time, do we have to prepare both prop and off?
Guys in the chat, please.
Thanks.
In the chat.
Ma'am,
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah.
Ma'am, may I ask?
In the chat. I cannot get some people to write on the chat while listening to others. Everybody will follow the standard procedure. Okay, I will try answering some questions now, and then the rest which are left will be answered afterwards because some people are taking notes from the slide. So, how long is one round? One round probably lasts for like, calculate, okay? So junior category will have 3 minutes of speech, middle category will have 4 minutes of speech, and the senior category will have 6 minutes of speech, and every round will have 6 speeches. So 3 into 6 is 18 minutes for junior category for one round, and like that you can calculate. In fact, we'll come to it when we're discussing the format with you, okay? Will all the motions be shared? No, only one motion will be shared, which will be used for the first 2 rounds. I have responded to that before, so I'm not going to repeat. Will the topic of the debate be impromptu or prep? Both. First 2 rounds prepared, the last round impromptu. What is the prep time for unprepared round? Exactly an hour. Excuse. Let me see. Just 1 second. Excuse me, one of my teammates' name is written 2 times. Okay, that's logistic. We'll take that later. What is the time limit of speeches? Junior category 3 minutes, middle category 7 to 9th grade 4 minutes, senior category 10th to 12th grade 6 minutes. Is Google allowed for researching? For prepared rounds, you might want to use that. For impromptu rounds also, if you want to use it, you can use it, but it won't help you much. If you think by yourself organically, that might help you more. How long do the speeches have to be? I just clarified. What website can we use? That's an unclear question. And is there a reply speech? No, there are no reply speeches. Do teammates have to prepare for all 3 rounds?
You're
Yes, of
cracking.
course. You're supposed to discuss with your
You're
partner,
glitching.
teammates
You're
when doing a
cracking.
motion. The finals will take place physically.
Hmm?
Got it. Got it. Is this better? I got it. Is this
Yeah.
better? Okay.
Yeah.
The finals will take place physically. Is that right? Yes, that's right. Is research allowed? I just responded to that. You might want to do that, but it might not help as much. Are the motions for the online qualifications? Yeah. The motion that will be released today will be for qualifiers. Ma'am, is Google allowed? I just responded. Ma'am, can you give a short recap for the people? No, there is a recording which you can use. We will also share this PDF which you can refer to later. Is Google allowed for research? Same question. Ma'am, what is a motion? Okay, a motion is a topic. The topic that you will debate on, just a fancy term for that. Is Google allowed? Again. Do all 3 teammates have to prepare same questions? Are we allowed to make notes while talking to the opposite team during the debate? Yes, definitely. How else would you remember things? So definitely take notes. That's not an issue. You can't read it off a doc, but you can definitely refer to your doc for points. Can we read a speech or do we have to memorize it? See, it's not about memorizing it. You can write down your points on a piece of paper and then one by one explain them in your own language, but have the points nearby so that you don't forget. That's fine. Any rebuttals? Yes, rebuttals will happen. I'll tell you what the speaker structure is in the time that's left with us. Ma'am, is Google allowed? Yes, it is. Ma'am, will the topic be shared on WhatsApp? Yes. What exactly is monsters? Monsters are just like basically themes that you're going to have for the various rounds that you're going to debate on. For example, if industrialization is a theme, you're going to get a motion on industrialization. So you should research on these monsters first. You should understand them, understand where they come from, when it started, what it's about, all of those things. So once today's session is over, try to go back and just figure out what industrialization means, what urbanization means, what modern loneliness means, and what wars mean. Could you explain the term that I use in debate, like motion, etc., for the kids who are totally new to debates? Kids are not following the context of your talk and its requirement. Okay. So basically, I'll just quickly apologies for that if some of the terms are unfamiliar to some of you. I think for the junior people, Freen ma'am will also be taking you guys to a breakout room to simplify things and explain it over again. So that shouldn't be a problem. But mostly motion is a topic. And if you have any other term that you don't understand, please put in the chat.
Ma'am,
We
how
should
did you
hear from
find
school
the
earlier. You're gonna
recording?
stay back in school for your
In the chat.
should I pick you up from school earlier? Do you want to go on the day of your for morning practice?
Morning, whoever is talking about the morning practice is talking about it unmuted. Do we have to prepare both op and prop in the unprepared round? No, you will be given a side. Urbanization means to develop cities, buildings, etc. Yes, that's about right. Does negative marking take place? No. You're marked out of 10 for manner, out of 10 for matter, and out of 10 for method. So we'll explain all of that in a while in the sessions to come tomorrow and 2 days after, so that you will get to know about as to what you'll be marked on. What is the meaning of monsters? So monsters I explained. Okay. Shouldn't capitalism be further divided into crony capitalism? Because in general, so capitalism is not something that we're discussing right now. It's for later. It's for out rounds. The rounds that will happen after the qualifiers. Can we raise a motion to our opponent, or will it be given by the judges? Only by the, not by the judges, by us, the organizing committee. Can you please give a recap of what you said? You can look at the recording later.
Ma'am, how can we find the recording of the class?
It'll be on our YouTube channel. We'll share the link on the WhatsApp group. Shouldn't. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. All of the other questions are repetitive.
Can you use ChatGPT?
I prefer that you don't, because it's kind of like cheating, because you're not doing anything by yourself. You're not thinking, you're just relying on the internet. If you really have to for ideas, you might do it, but it's advisable that you first think about the motions yourself.
Ma'am, so when will this slide be shared with us?
After the training session.
Ma'am,
What is the POS?
Ma'am, what's the style of debating?
Ma'am, there's a breakout room has come.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
Everyone, please,
stop.
one by one. Yes, please.
Everybody, now theme has been explained for format and